Hello people and welcome back to the Case Mega Man commentary. It's time for Mega Man 2. Crash Man is first, and the stage has a couple of issues which you have to keep in mind when you're doing a no-miss. All the Mega Man 2 stages have been done with the difficulty setting as to honor the Japanese version, which was difficult by default. So we're not doing a normal mode on any of these. Crash Man stage can be straightforward to a certain degree. These mets all about waiting, or you can do a mini jump and shoot at them, but much more safe to wait for them to get on your level and then shoot them. One strategy you could use on this telly section would be that you can try and group up the tellies a little bit. Only problem there is that you might get damaged doing so. So I just ended up shooting them, if my memory serves me correct here. All about timing. Once you shoot one of them, new ones will come out until there are 3 on the screen, at which point no more will spawn until again you shoot them. So it's crowd control pretty much on this screen right here. Problem number 1 is this bucket fellow. Just have to know where to stand. Like that. That does not happen on the normal difficulty, so he just dies from one hit. So that's one thing that is more difficult on the difficult option. There's a section coming up that a lot of people thought requires using the pause function to bypass without taking damage, but it was later debunked. Because apparently you can get past this without pausing, but pausing was never against the rules in my run, or rather this whole challenge, so I just paused the game right there to get some more elevation. So that part is notorious for being badly designed. It's really difficult to dodge these pippies, especially if you're new to this challenge or just not good at Mega Man in general. So there we go. Bit of trouble, but I managed to do that. All of this can be done without pausing, but it is pretty pixel perfect the way you have to do it. And there I didn't realize that I have to orient myself on the ladder the right way so the PP comes from the right. And after realizing that, well, it's a bit easier. Those are the main issues in Crash Man stage. Nothing too bad once you know how it works, but can be a little bit of trouble. And this is all about just knowing what to do there. Things become easier once you just repeat them enough, and it goes into your muscle memory, and you'll be able to do that every time then. Crash Man stage. Slow fight if you wanna play it safe. You shoot him once, let him cycle his pattern. Who doesn't know this strategy? If you're playing the game normally, you can hold down a quick boomerang once you go through the gate and not even move and he'll die. Because every time you press the fire button he jumps. So if you don't press it at all after crossing the gate, if you just hold it down, then he's not gonna do anything else but walk back and forth. Of course you can get 4 shots in every time he jumps. I did not know that when this was recorded, so I just did what I knew best, which was 1 shot. It's very risky to do 4 shots on a no-miss challenge. 3, kinda risky. 2 is very doable. But why would you hurry? There's no rush. Once you get here, you've done the whole stage, why would you risk it? It's a lot about risk versus reward as well in all of these stages as well. And you have to keep that in mind in this challenge. There's Crash Man done. Not too bad if you look at some of the other stages we're gonna encounter. Metal Man, not too bad if I recall. Of course, a lot of this is just patience and waiting. And then we have a couple of these sections with really they really require methodical movement. And Mega Man sprite vanishes because there's too many sprites on the horizontal plane. But that section and then these moles, luckily these are both at the beginning. So the thing about moles is that they never appear straight from under you. So you can use that to your advantage. You can go slow as well as fast, but if you go fast again there's the risk to get hit. That was close. Extremely close. And that's that done. So once you repeat something like this for 40 times, you're gonna lose your patience and you're gonna start to rush. And at that point, you'll probably start getting hit. So it's a lot about getting in the right mindset as well when you're doing this. So that you don't get easily distracted or something else. That's really important in this challenge. You have to keep it together even though you know that repeating something can be slow if it's designed like that, especially in Metal Man stage, where patience is key. And then following up here is the more of these bucket fillows. Luckily this time there's a bit of a platform for them, so if you're fast enough you can kind of get under it and it'll hurl the buckets right over you. And, a little bit more waiting, but once you know how to do that, just repeat the same thing 3 times. Huge gap and some Roombas, and that's the whole stage. So really the whole problem in this one is in the beginning. I guess the moles I would consider being the worst offender in this one. So once you just have patience, once you have the knowledge on how they work, it becomes a lot easier. Metal Man himself, there's a couple of things you can do. Either just stay on the left side and keep firing, which is more risky, or you just go back and forth and fire once. Once you get close to Metal Man, he'll get out of your way and he will jump to the other side. So knowing this, you can just pretty much take your time and take your shots as you wish. This run though extremely slow, but again you have to remember that at the time I was recording these, I had nowhere to look for strategies. I mean, raw material had some strategies I could use, but it can be so different when you're doing a no miss. So if you try to do just no damage, you could just fire away. You wouldn't have to care about that. So that's the main difference between no miss and no damage. Just no damage in itself. You can't just fire away, because every shot you take is an opportunity to miss. Oh my god, some close calls. I'm taking this extremely slow, I understand that, but this was my first successful run ever. I could do this probably 5 times faster now. But this was an interesting time 10 years ago doing this, since I really had no one else to do this with until later. A few folks joined the challenge with me. Ultima Mantoid and Philon, Shikaroxen and Candy Bars to an extent. They started to do the challenge with me. And at that point it was fun sharing our strategies with one another, and that's how Snapster was born as well. Snapster is a racing league. What was that? Probably something to do with the commentary. Snapster's a racing league where we race Mega Man with deranged rules every week. It's in the description if you want to watch those. And you should. It's great fun. As I try to make up commentary on a fight that takes 50 minutes. But hey, at least I did it. Who cares how slow that is? Who cares how slow it is, as long as I abide by the rules. Horrible tactic in today's world. But back then, 10 years ago, I guess this was impressive to a certain degree. And please take the final shot. Let me out of my torment. There we go. That's Metal Man. Can be done a lot better, a lot faster, but hey, at least it's done. Then we got Flashman. Kind of the same problem. Then with Godsmash Station, it's designed that it's really short. It's really easy. I think the only problem we might have is the timing of these. So you have to really try and slide down the platform, and then it's partly luck, but also partly knowing when to do that, as to not get hit. So that's pretty much the only problem in this. Once you do that 2 times, I guess, is what the requirement is. If you've done it once, there's another, like a similar spot here, which is easier though, as you can kind of manipulate it. Right here, if you hug the wall on the left there, you can avoid the shot every time. So that's both of those situations handled. The rest is just pretty much nothing. The armor show works such as when the armor show jumps, if you jump, it will not fire. So when the armor show lands, and if you're in the air, it will not fire. That'll guarantee it. So that's something you can do to manipulate that enemy. And here, you might want to, I don't know why I'm taking the upper pad. You might want to scroll this armored show a bit to the left. It's not required, you can still make it. But it's a lot more safe in a challenge like this. And notice how I kept jumping to avoid getting shot at. Important to know that. Probably not intended, but it works. Flashman can be set up in a way where he does the same thing every time. I think Zargon, who also did the no miss challenge, forgot to mention him earlier in there. I think he figured it out, and then Candy Bars did the same thing. I did not know that at the time of this, so I just got lucky, essentially. No matter what you do though, Flashman is pretty easy. But it's important to know that you can get him stuck in a cycle where you can win every time, no matter what. Woodman stage. One of the longer ones in Mega Man 2. Can be a hassle. Few problem spots especially, but we'll tackle them as we see them. So the first thing here, easiest strategy, jump over the bunnies, which is harder than it looks. That is really precise. There's probably a couple of frames that you can utilize that. The first hot dog down here, there's a spot in which you can stay in and not get hit. Apparently I did not know that at the time of this. Doesn't matter though. It's still rather easy. You just have to count your shots. You have to keep in mind that a lot of these stages in this challenge have enemies that take a ton of damage. So your best bet is to know how much damage they take and then start counting. Because if you just fire like randomly, you're not gonna know when they die, and then you're gonna miss after they die. So right here I stopped firing more because I don't know how much damage they took. So I just limited my shots to 1 per pass. That way I can react fast enough when they die. Sometimes that is not feasible, you need to really know how much damage they take, so you can get by and not miss a shot. And that screen here, there, all about luring the bats out. Waiting for them, rather. So patience is the key. This is one of those more difficult sections in the stage because of the pippies. Luckily there's a way to manipulate that as well. I'm not sure if I did that here or not. Let's see if I did. I guess I did not. So there's a way you can trick this section. If you are facing left, the pippy will come from the left, and then you can just basically run with the pippies as they are traveling right. So that's an easy way to deal with that section. But it's not too hard even without that strategy apparently. I guess my memory serves me a bit wrong there. I've thought that was a bit more difficult than it actually was. But in any case, depends on how good you are, I guess. And my skills at Mega Man have vastly improved after this challenge, because that's what it does. You go into this not knowing much about Mega Man, even if you've played it a lot. You're not really gonna know how everything works until you do something like this. So at the time of doing this, I wasn't really that great. It's only after I've accomplished a stage, no damage, no miss, it is then that I acquired the power of knowledge, and that makes me better as a Mega Man player. That's interesting to see. So these successful runs here might not showcase that much of a skill, it's just experimentation, and how that can contribute to just beating the stages with that newly acquired skill set. Woodman is hard in the sense that you have to go under him when he gets to the left side. You can't kill him before he does that. So at least once you have to go under him. It's all about timing, really. So if you don't have that timing down, well, you're gonna have to repeat the stage a lot, and yeah, it's a hard one. The boss really makes the whole stage a lot more difficult than it needs to be, just because of that one thing, running under him. Heatman's turn. And this stage, pretty much just walking right. That's about it. Heatman stage is not known to be difficult. And just to comment a little on the because this is a rather easy stage, I don't have to really comment on the stage. Just to comment a little on the challenge and why I felt like it wasn't worth doing anymore. So looking at this Heatman run here, this has 600 views. And this is 9 years old. 600 views. Nobody really gave a crap about runs like this. Or nobody really knew. And still a lot of people don't know it. I'm gonna have to comment on this, so you can scroll that off. Like that. So still, probably not a lot of people knew that I did this. So that's one of the reasons why my enthusiasm just pretty much quit on me. Because if you do something like this, you could try a stage for months and then just release the video on it, and you get like 100 views. Well, that doesn't really drive your enthusiasm. So that's one reason why I retired from this challenge. It's way too much work for little to no payoff. But looking at this, I'm so glad I did this without doing the no miss challenge. I probably wouldn't have never started the evaluation series or made the top lists that became popular. So this was still required that I did this to get that knowledge on Mega Man games, and I don't regret doing this. It's just that it's no longer viable to keep doing it. There's no payoff. Nobody really cares about these runs. But here's me hoping that maybe a few new people will find this once I do these tribute videos with commentary. So I guess these were a bit hard to find. I was looking for that raw material popularity with this series, and never really lifted off from the ground. There we go. You can see the Armored Show strategy once they're paying off. Just remember the jump. So that's Heatman stage. Nothing really there. It's a worthless piece of junk, this stage. And here, jump right immediately when the fight starts, or just a little late apparently. Both work. And then the rest is just shooting at him before he can do that. Apparently I'm just letting him fire those shots for some reason. But if you shoot at him fast enough, he's not gonna fire those shots at all. I guess this works fine. It's just that if he comes at you too fast, you might have to dodge him, and then you land on the fires if you let him do that. So shoot him immediately when he comes off the iframes, and he's not gonna fire at you. So this strategy is a bit old here. But he is done, nevertheless. Airman stage. I remember having some trouble with this. And I believe I tried this for quite a long time. This is suddenly 2011. Took me a lot of attempts. That was risky and dumb. Don't do that on a no-miss challenge. Don't wanna tippy-toe to the edge. It's a dumb way to get damaged. But that was the first platform I did it on. So why not? Just don't do it here if you don't know how to do it. And even then it's too risky, it's too dumb. But this is nothing else but just waiting right there. And immediately an incredibly hard section here if you're... especially if you are not fluent with the controls. This is just paying attention, waiting for the right window to shoot and then quickly making the jump over to the next cloud. Some of these jumps can be a bit tight, but should not provide to be too much of a problem. And here you could do this. This is what I was talking about on Woodman stage, which I did not do there. It was apparently at this point when I figured out that you can do that. The rest should be easy. Airman stage is pretty lackluster in terms of design. Just repetition over repetition, nothing really gets in your way after that cloud section with the... forgot what they're called, lightning somethings? Can't remember the enemy names, but Lightning Lord, I guess. The rest is really easy. Have to be mindful here though. PBs do come from behind the clouds, all about positioning. That's a good spot there. And another one. And then we have the Fan Fiend trying to stop us, which you can scroll off if you know how. There we go. And bit of a problematic turn of events there. Managed to pull it off, and this is just not the best way to do this, obviously. Okay, I'm not sure even what happened there. Extremely lucky is what I would call this run. I'm making this way more hard than it needs to be. But hey, that looked impressive. Yeah, for its time. Airman though, just go in the gate. Airman though, if he... well, all of his patterns can be dodged. Each one of them. It's just some of them are way more difficult than others. And if you can't manage to pull that off, then you'll just get hit. You can't fire at the tornadoes, that'll ding your shots. That's a hard one. Managed to pull that off. That's an extremely tight of a window. And there we go. Have to pray for good luck on those patterns. And just rely on your skill if he doesn't give you those good patterns. Then finally we have Bubble Man before getting the Quick Man. A lot later is when that happened. But Bubble Man here, you can skip the frogs. It's things like this that is essential that you find on a no-miss run, so you don't have to spend more time trying to kill enemies like that. The little frogs were giving me trouble, so I had to find another way. And that's when I realized you can tip it out of the edge of the frog and jump over them, which was a huge help. Without that, that section would have been really problematic. And this here is just knowing not to land on the enemy right after the transition. Nothing more to it. And here's where the problem area is in Bubble Man stage. The lanternfish. Really, you have to know how to scroll the screen. You have to know exactly where the hitbox is. And knowing to retreat. And scrolling the enemies off. That's all part of this. Not an easy mini-boss by any stretch of the imagination. It's all about manipulation. Knowing what to do and how to do it. And that one shrimp giving me trouble. But playing it cool should work. And now there's 4 of them. But they will eventually float down if you just keep jumping and avoiding them. Don't want to fire at them, because that's an easy miss. So So just trying to get rid of them is a lot easier. I could probably just run right and scroll them off. But that's one way to do it, and now there's gonna be 3 more. Because that's the spawn point, and now you have the best situation with those. You have to take them out as soon as they come on the screen, because if you don't, well, you're just gonna get played by them. And that's interesting to note, that the shrimp don't come out from the mouth of the mini-boss, they come out from a spawn point. So that's just made to look like they do. When in fact, they do spawn even without the mini-boss being there. This can be a bit more problematic if you just stand there. Could have just ran through, this would have no problems at all. Just goes to show you how differently things work out, depending on how you tackle the different sections. This is obviously the hard part. And it's all about tippy-toeing, taking your time, spawning them on the screen one at a time, because if you just spawn them all on the screen at once, good luck. Luckily the shots still accumulate on the mini-boss, even if you scroll it off. The game still remembers the amount of shots you did, so that's good. So you can go back and retreat. Nice jump right there at, to the top, avoiding damage. And then just, it's all about resetting this now. There we go, just take the shots as soon as you can. That'll be done. That's probably a lot to take. I'm pausing a lot and not moving forward because I think like stuff like that, your hands are so sweaty. You have to take pauses here and there. And now keep the little frogs on the screen so that the bigger frog doesn't shoot out anymore. So this can be done in a way where you just run through this. But the final crab will hit you if you keep running. It's best to not rush that. Just take your time. It's not a speed run. And now, Bubble Man is the last obstacle. And again, probably wiping my sweaty hands to my pants to have a better chance at this. I noticed that the like some of these runs have very laggy gameplay, but I was playing with my awful Mac at the time of recording most of these older ones that was lagging when I was playing the game. Can't do anything about that now, it's all done. Of course, if you wanna have the best case of proof for yourself, well, laggy video is not something you want. But nothing we can do about that now. So here's the Bubble Man strategy pretty much. Wait for him to float down, fire at him again if you wish, which I did not do. But that's what you can do, fire 2 times. Might even get another shot in there as well, but well, this is a lot of experimentation from my part. And not knowing all the strategies that come with this. But if you wanna make sure that you'll do it, just fire once. Because after you've done that stage, trust me, you don't want to repeat that. So better to be safe than sorry. And I remember sometimes playing this challenge so much that sometimes my thumb would just automatically press the fire button. Because it was it would sometimes twitch, like on its own. So for that reason I did some of these so slowly, where that would have no chance of happening. Get muscle spasms out of things like this. But that's Mega Man 2 done, apart from Quick Man, which we're gonna check next. That took me a few years to complete. Bubble Man's just has the Metal Man syndrome, has the Toad Man syndrome, if you will. Take it slowly and you'll have no problem. If you take your distance, good luck dodging the bubbles and his shots. You're gonna have a hard time if you do that. And we are up to Quick Man. So, I did this stage. Oh my god, the footage looks awful. Of course it does. I did this so much that I could beat the stage on my sleep. Like, I could beat the stage without even looking at it. I did this so many times. And I think it took me 2 years to beat Quick Man. Yeah, 2012, this one, August. So, Quick Man is nothing more but luck. He does have a pattern, but it's glitched. So, there's a good video about it in Felon's channel. I'll link it in the description or the pinned comment if I remember to do that. Essentially, Quick Man does have a pattern, but he jumps inside the walls on both sides, and that messes up his pattern. Even if he had a pattern and it worked, it would still be hard as hell. But it's just random, and all about reaction. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about it though. Depends on how the boomerangs fly. Over the years people have come up with different strategies against Quick Man, but let's face it, it's not gonna help you much. And the same Armored Show strategy still works. Just have to know to stop here because there will be another one. And you might scroll the other one back. So that's one way to do that. And just remember to keep jumping. There we go. And then we have Quick Man, which just after 2 years gave me a pattern where I could beat him. Of course it's not 2 years like every day, it was 2 years and trying it here and there, once a week, twice a week. And then it just happened. Thank God it happened, I didn't want to leave this out. So it's just a perfect pattern, and I remember, yep, some flair. Had to add some flair after that. That was a big win, a big moment in the Case Mega Man history. 2,200 views on this one. That is Mega Man 2 done. Not bad, quite doable if you don't count Bubble and Quick. I think those were the hardest ones to do. Alright, I'll catch you on the other side when we tackle Mega Man 3.